profitability on a bottom-up basis.
Okay, that's the view coming in from Madhusudan Kela. He's betting on the telecom pact in the medium term. Let's should focus and get you another market view then. Joining us live on Street View this afternoon is Ritu Arora, CIO at Canara HSBC OBC Life Insurance. Hi Ritu, good to have you with us on the show this afternoon. Firstly, your thoughts on what really are you expecting from the Fed in terms of a guidance on QE3 withdrawal, because clearly all markets, whether it's equity, whether it's currency, whether it's commodities, are going to be glued to that one statement from Ben Bernanke.
Yes, it is a much-awaited statement, but my personal expectation is that it cannot be a stark reversal, but a sobering should not be very surprising. US has been in a liquidity easing environment for a while and has shown stable economic indicators now, and hence some kind of systematic withdrawal will be tried out, and then I guess the next course will be decided, but I do not expect a sharp reversal.
Ritu, what's your own sense about what's happening with the entire telecom space, and does it seem like this is just a technical move because these stocks were, completely thrashed out, or do you think there is, sort of smart money now laying its hands in the telecom space?
Telecom is an interesting sector because as a sector is pretty low on valuations at this point in time, and hence there is upside. But I do believe that the regulatory hassles are not behind the sector. Slightly different view than Mr. Madhusudan Kela, who was speaking before me. I believe there will be a lot of uncertainty and announcements one will continue to witness. Margins have been under pressure. Some of the companies are very highly leveraged, and that will continue to impact. But I would agree that a bottom-up analysis of the sector and picking up the right stock within the sector would be a good move, because in general the sector still has attractive valuation.
What about IT, Ritu? Obviously the weak rupee has aided this sector, but just yesterday we had the MD and CEO of TCS tell us that weak rupee in a sense gives a false sense of confidence and that they'd like to do away with this volatility as well. What's your call on the IT pack, and also what would be your favorites in that list?
IT is an interesting sector, while it's of course benefiting from weak rupee at this point in time, but what hangs as a Damocles sword on the sector is the fact that US might have a legislation which makes operating for Indian companies that much more difficult, and margin squeeze as far as business from US is concerned. So there again one will have to focus specifically on companies and identify those companies which are likely not to be impacted in a big way from this legislation which is likely to come out in US. But in general, I like the sector. It is relatively buffered from the vagaries of economy that we are experiencing at this point in India. Be it on, inflation has moderate impact, but on all other counts, it's moderate impacted and in fact benefiting from weakening rupee.
Call on banks, especially PSUs, because they've really been beaten down the last couple of trading sessions. Do you think all asset quality concerns are now sort of overdone, and is the time ripe to buy now?
I'm not so sure yet, because I do not see a recovery in the economy in terms of growth. I do not see any reversal or new investment in sentiment improving, and businesses, corporate profits continue to be under pressure. So I do not believe that asset quality challenges are behind the economy and specifically behind banks yet. And while attractive valuations are pretty attractive, I would say, in PSUs, but my preference still remains for private sector banks till such time that I don't see a positive traction in the economy, and I believe that's a little while away.
Ritu, on a broader macros, what's your take on the reform momentum? Just yesterday we had, a government panel submit a report on liberalizing the FDI regime, and it seems to be pretty, pretty interesting. Several sectors they're talking of increasing the cap, whether it's telecom, whether it's aviation, whether it's even multi-brand retail. What's your sense? Do you think the government will have the stomach to pull this through when we are just about 6 odd months away from elections?
Markets are difficult to predict, politics is even more difficult, so I really have no clue. But it would be very welcome for the economy as well as for the markets if these kind of reforms go through. And they seem like very sensible options and should impact the sectors very positively. And as we all know, we are grappling with current account deficit challenges, rupees depreciating. So allowing FDI is a very positive move. I hope they have the appetite to take this through, and all the opposition supports it in the larger good of the country.
Okay, Ritu, good chatting with you. Appreciate you taking the time out and joining us today on the show. Let's just quickly revisit what the European markets are up to and how they are approaching